Hey Craig, it's me, Don. How are you? I wanted to go over this practice mastery audit, and I'm going to kind of do it generically just so I can use this on the podcast 'cause I think this will help a lot of other people. So I'm going to read this because I think some people won't be seeing the video version of it. So you finished school in 2021, so you've been out a few years, probably maybe three and a half years. What's going well in your practice? Your patients are very happy. You're doing good treatments. What area of practice makes you excited about the future or your $1 million idea, helping patients avoid surgery through offering traditional and non-traditional conservative treatment, getting patients out of orthotics and into minimalist shoes, offering tools and resources, PT, foot mobility, strengthening coaching, gait analysis, to help patients have the ability to participate in preventing care. I think all of those are great. We in our office, we sell LEMS, and we're big advocates of topos and ultras, and we have a lot of trigger point tools that are for sale. And we do still do a significant amount of orthotics, but you have to make sure that this preventative care is really also able to, let your practice be profitable. I guess your biggest frustration, what you lose sleep over, is low patient volume. And I think even before we go any further, for anyone that's listening, when you look at a practice where you're at, you want to find the number one constraint and spend all your time trying to fix that constraint. And this is something I learned from Alex Harmozy. You want to fix that one thing because when you do that, it makes everything else a lot easier. So I think even before you go any further, I think the main focus would be patient volume. Like if you're going to focus on one thing, and that might be just like giving it an hour a day, what Alex says is 100 minutes a day, but taking it and focusing on how to fix that one bottleneck. And I'll give you some suggestions for the patient volume thing. You haven't been in a mastermind, so maybe one way of doing that maybe would be I have an online mastermind group. It's a WhatsApp group. It's virtual. There are some other people that have in person ones. There's AAPPM that do meetings. If you haven't been to any of those might help you. Your practice is producing less than 500,000, so I'd love to get it up more than that. Your practice is about a year old and you're just making overhead without anything. So that's kind of a frustrating thing. What's stopping you? I think you're still trying to get on insurance panels, exposure, and you're in a saturated area. I think a lot of us are in saturated areas where there's a lot of podiatrists. And one skill you'd like to learn would be regenerative medicine. I think you have that. I think you already have Shockwave. I think that's great. Your ideal patients are athletic patients with an acute injury that want to return to sport through non-traditional podiatry modalities, and that might be shockwave, amnio injections, things like that. I asked a question in this audit about the magic genie question. So if a genie appeared and gave you 3 wishes, so you could change 3 things in or about your business instantly with no effort or cost, what would these be? And you said, number one, I would hire a podiatrist to work under me and run my mobile clinic. I've been running a mobile clinic 1 day a week where I go to assisted living group home. I have 150 patients. It's been steadily growing and has been keeping the lights on. I would like to have someone hired under me to work those clinics. I've done a lot of work establishing the referral sources, and there's a ton of room to grow. And I think that might be because a lot of people aren't wanting to do that type of work in your area. And I think there is a lot of room, especially if you could find either a podiatrist or even a nurse practitioner, or as I talk a lot about like a nail tech. I think a nurse practitioner might be a better, or a physician's assistant if in your state you can do that. But that would be a way that they could see it and you would monitor them. But I certainly think doing that would be good sooner versus later, especially if you're seeing there's a lot of revenue in that. If you're finding that there's not a lot of revenue in that, then you might want to just close it up once you get busy enough. And if it's only 1 day, I can see it's not really glutting you that much. You would also have trained MAs who would do a lot of the work for me, like orthotic scanning, stretching, mobilization techniques, diabetic shoes inserts, more involvement with patient care, taking pictures or of wounds and warts and things like that. And I think this is something, having a trained MA, you have time. So potentially doing a medical assistant training, kind of all these things, put these on a checklist and just go and train them. And I would also recommend when you're training them, I would recommend recording the training so that when you get new medical assistants, that can be reused, that type of a training. So training, just setting up some time when you have no patients, and then just teach them and record that so it can be used. I'm a big advocate of recording things because it makes it a lot easier. And then someone to do my notes. I want 0 notes at the end of the day. This is my favorite thing. Morali, who's my scribe, he frees me up, and that's why I don't have any notes at the end of the day. You kind of have to get to a point where you can afford someone like that. I think AI is getting there, so that might be another option, an AI version. But I pay about $35,000, $40,000 a year for that, but it really frees me up to do that. So I think the MAs, you can actually start doing that because it seems like you have time if you're only 500K. I don't know if you're busy all the time. We talked about how you're feeling, and I'm going to joke with you here. I said, don't put 7s. You put 2 7s. Everyone picks 7s, but that's okay. Personally and professionally. Personally, you want to bring home a paycheck, allow your wife to stop working her job. You know, that's great that you have someone that by your side to help you for this kind of slow period. And then treating more of your ideal patients. I think the way to treat ideal patients, those athletic ones, is when you do marketing, you only speak to those. If you only want to see those, not that you don't see everything. And this is something I learned a while ago. You see everything, but you only speak to what you want to see, meaning what you do in social media, what you put out there on your blogs, what you put out there on your website is only your ideal patient, which would be that athletic patient that wants to get better. In part of this practice mastery audit, actually, if anyone's listening to this, you want to see what this audit looks like, you can go to podiatrypracticemastery.com/audit, AUDIT. You can see it. But in here, I put all the office procedures that are available. And so you do shockwave, matrixectomy, fracture codes, Uniboots, and then orthotic scanning. And I think there's a lot of other things that could potentially be done in your office that are pretty easy. Like amnio injections, Cariflex, Oniflex, if you like to do the nail things. Exhaustectomy, if you have a little MIS kit, you could have a little rasp and do those in the office. I&D is pretty much like incision and drainage of like an ingrown toenail. That's what I mean. You could do ultrasound. If you had ultrasound, you could do ultrasound guided cortisones. You could do toe strapping. Really, all that is taping the toe, right? You can tape them together with Coban, and you could build a strapping code and things like that. And you also do Swift. So it's good. You have some of these things in the office. I just find it with a low patient volume, it's hard to make Swift and Shockwave kind of profitable because you don't have enough patients in the office. What procedures would you like to start doing? You said ultrasound guided injections, amnio, and Cariflex. I think those are some simple low-lying fruit. You can get a couple of the kits, keep them there, and just practice them on patients. Do you accept Medicaid? You said yes. You have to be careful of what percentage of your patients are Medicaid. If it's too high, it might not be worth it. We opted out of Medicaid a while ago, and we didn't really see much of a loss. I know when you're starting out and you don't have as many patients, like any patient is a good patient. And another thing about that is when you're seeing patients, every patient should come back. Like every patient, there's a reason to see them back. And so when you're trying to fill the practice, like that's the way to do it. And once it gets filled, then you start reducing insurances or reducing or increasing the time between patients coming back. There's a big list of in-office dispensing and DME things. I probably should have separated this. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I appreciate your feedback. I'm going to separate in-office dispensing from durable medical equipment. But you do an ankle brace, you have a tall walking boot, you have diabetic shoes, and posterior night splint. So you have some of these. I think don't try to do everything. I think pick a couple of them that you think you can do and then offer them for your patients. What of those would you like to do normal, do more of? You didn't even know a lot of them could be billed to DME or insurance. So a lot of these can be. I think some low-hanging fruit would be if you already have a DME license, you could do AFOs. So find a company and do some AFOs for like posterior tibial tendon dysfunction, things like that. That would be something that would be profitable. If you're doing ingrown toenails, you could do the post-op kits. The Amerigel has a good post-op kit. If you're doing surgery, doing shower covers. So simple things like that, that'll increase the per visit value for some of your patients. And then as you get more advanced, you can do some more. All of these are within my Podiatry Practice Mastery. If you go on there, it's pretty reasonable. I think it's like $90 or $100 a month or a little over that. But it goes through kind of how to start using all these things. And then efficiency techniques. You have all of your standard operating procedures, which I think is good. There are a couple of other things we talked about. Possibly next one we'll be using a scribe once you get busy enough. Things you'd like to learn more about. Amazon affiliate. I think it's a good thing. I don't make that much money though. I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze for the Amazon affiliate. I think if you're going to focus on producing revenue, it would be adding new things, selling in your practice. Scribe really increased my revenue because I'm more present with my patients. But if you have a lot of time, it's probably better to do the notes yourself. And then once you get really busy, then get the scribe. Or if you think you could be more profitable using a scribe, but you have to have things to offer them so you can be more profitable. And we talked about technology, and you have texting, you have an auto login option, you have a system to ask for online reviews, and we're going to go over your website here in a little bit. I have a way to schedule appointments. You have that. You have social media, digital x-ray, shockwave, and then you do social media. Which of the technology efficiencies would you like to start doing? Everything that I didn't check. And you said I'm in the fence about patient presentations and treatment sheets. I think patient presentations really is just a visualization, and I give mine out. If you go to podiatrypracticemastery.com / I think it's presentations or patient presentations, you can get them, and you can just start using them, trying them with patients. But I think the treatment sheets really help me to kind of have a protocol of how I treat things, and you can include a lot of the in-office dispensing things. One thing I'm seeing here, and I can understand it, but you're charging $300 for cash orthotics. I would at least maybe double that if you have the confidence to do that to $600. That's what we do. So these are custom orthotics. These are not over the counter. So these are custom. So I would double that to $600, and you're welcome, and just start offering that. So that would be one thing. Also, offering a second pair of orthotics. The wording I tend to use for my patients when they get scanned, as I say, I don't care if you get 2 pairs or 10 pairs, but I find that 2 pairs help with consistency and compliance with wearing orthotics. So I tend to offer that. I also have a second pair orthotic coupon when patients get orthotics. It's when they get the orthotic, it has a coupon in the package. And if you want that, just reach out to me, or if anyone listening wants that, reach out to me. Now for shockwave, also, I think you have EPAD. I would assume maybe the radial device. We charge $200 a session. So I think you're a little under. You're at $500 for 4 sessions. I would do $800 for 4 sessions, especially if you believe it. I would do $800 for 4 sessions. So up that price. You're undervaluing yourself and the market. Don't go low. If you're going to be anything, be the highest. And if you're not hearing any no's with shockwave, it's because you're too low. Same thing with orthotics. Amnio, you don't have. Swift, you're doing $250 per monthly session. So I think that's good. That's the only thing you're on bar, I think, is the Swift, is the $250 price. I think the other things could go up for you. And then you went in here to kind of explain your time. So I'm going to share this with everyone. So all day Monday, you're in the clinic. All day Wednesday, you're in the clinic. And then Friday morning, you're in the clinic. Okay. And then you are in nursing homes. It looks like it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now you said up above it was 1 day. So if you're in there 2 days, I would probably try to push everything into 1 day if you can. So then you can open up to see more patients. And then I'd also like to know if all your days in the treatment are filled, or how many patients you're seeing. That's something I probably should have included, is how many patients you're seeing on those days. And that's my bad. I have to add that as well, the number of patients to that. And then use a billing service. They take 5%. What I may want to consider for you is that you could do a billing company. 5% is low when you're small, but it'll be high when you're big. And especially if you're doing an EMR that takes a percentage as well, that percentage is going to go up very quick. Do you bill fracture codes? So this is something you said, I don't know if you see fractures. I don't think you have just a routine or a nursing home practice, but if you see fractures, you can bill a fracture code. So that's something you should be doing. Diabetic foot exam, you're doing yearly. What % of time is on routine? That's 1 to 2 days a week. And a few scattered patients in your clinic. What I would recommend, if you want to do it in your clinic as well, pick a half day and only do them at that time. That restricts your access, and it allows you to focus on more of your ideal patient. So I do mine Friday mornings. You might want to consider that. So you had some billing issues of like doing office visits. If you talk about something else, you can bill an office visit. We talk about your website. We're going to go over that in a second. In terms of marketing, you have a part-time marketing, working 10 hours a week. I think that's great. Visiting primary care, dermatologists, nursing homes. She's running social media. I think that's great. I would just like to know what are the results from that, and like how it's been working with that marketing. So what are your results? for that 10 hours. So 10 hours can be cheap if you're getting a lot of results, and 10 hours can be expensive if they're not doing anything. So basically, are they getting new referral sources for you, or setting up a lunch and learn or something else like that? What's not working? Community referrals for my clinic patients. So if you're not getting community referrals, I remember in the past I used to get frustrated about this. But really, you can't blame or complain. You have to just get better. And that would mean you have to go out and meet these referral sources. So if the problem is patient flow, you can try to delegate this to a marketing person. But I think like you need to get your butt out, and you probably already did this, but you have to keep doing it. Get out to meet the doctors and get in front of the doctors and make friends and spend time with them so they can get to know you. It's really easy to waste time online, like Instagram Reels, YouTube. If that does not equate into patients, it's probably a waste of time. I would really just visit and hammer in these primary care doctors who you think can refer to you, and get to know them and make friends, and keep trying, and have this marketing person to set up lunch and learn so you can get to know them and spend time with them. And that's what they should be doing. They should be opening the door for you to meet them. And then you just block your schedule, like a half day a week, and then go meet these doctors. Like the number one bottleneck here is number of patients. So your all of your time should be focused on meeting these doctors and meeting the referral sources, and then also encouraging referrals from patients. So you said here about the newsletter. So I'm in agreement with that. So all patients, they should be on your email list. They should get a newsletter once a week, more entertaining than educational. And I also think that, especially when you're starting out, like every patient, like I have my patient sheet right here. So when you're starting out, what you do is anyone that you do a procedure for, you call. You have their phone number on this piece of paper, you print it out, you call them, or have a staff call them. Hey, just want to check, see how you're doing okay, if you're doing okay. Like that is what wows patients. Like the doctor called me after an injection, after a Swift, after IND. So things like that in the beginning is what really endears them to you. Also, calling doctors about the patient. If you have a complicated patient, if you're going to do surgery on them, if anything else, like calling those primary cares, that gives you a reason to get a hold of them. You look at mine has the name of the patient and also the primary care. You could add to that. And then you could just call and say, hey, I've seen so-and-so. I just wanted to talk to you about the patient. It's a way that you can get in front of the primary cares, and so they get to know you. Just talk to them about the patient. Hey, they're dealing with plantar fasciitis. This is what my plan is. Or to call the office. Hey, I'd like to go and talk about these patients, let you know how they're doing. I want to introduce myself. I want to make friends in the community. Like you have to get your butt out there and meet these community doctors. So the other topics, what other topics were not mentioned here? Billing for PT codes, hiring a PT assistant or podorthist. I think these are all valuable things, but you need patient flow. You can't have a PT if there's no patients, or they can do AFOs, but there's no benefit when you don't have the patients. The whole focus, I think, should be forgetting all this other stuff and focus completely on patient flow. Okay, patient flow, patient flow, patient flow. That's the number one thing. So get out there. If you want to talk more about getting more patient flow, if you want me to help you be accountable, just like kind of let me know what you're doing every day, and I'll keep you accountable. This is your website. So this is a great website. I like it. You can call, you can text, you can book online, you can do a mobile appointment. These are all great. I like it. It has a video. What would even be better is, instead of having this video of this girl walking, have a video of you. If you want to see mine, you can go to my website, centralmasspodiatry.com. I like it though. It has book online, good picture of you, meet our team, and then your services. So kind of focusing on what you want. Looks like you want bunion surgery, hammer toe surgery, heel pain, ingrown toenail, Swift. So I would say, for the only thing I would change here is people know what orthotics are. I'm not sure if people know what Shockwave or Swift is. You could put Swift on here. That's fine, but you might want to make one for warts and for plantar fasciitis. I see you have more services here, and that's probably where it's going to go. Flat feet, hammer toes, heel spurs, plantar fasciitis. Instead of Swift, you might want to put wart. Oh, here it is, plantar wart. So you have plantar wart and you have Swift in there. I think those are great. And those are going to be going to a little, and so fracture, if you're treating fractures, you're going to have fracture care. So I like this format, what it is, what are the sides, and some of these questions. I think these are all great, and other more conditions. I love that format of the additional conditions that you treat here. Love it that you have testimonials here. This is great. Trusted podiatrist, testimonials. Patients love that. Even better than this would be if you had some videos of patients telling you how great things are. And I like this. your main focus, it looks like, is Shockwave and Swift. So if this is what you want to see, my recommendation would be putting it higher up, okay? Higher up. So putting maybe above our services, put Shockwave and Swift and what it's kind of used for. So I love this little thing right here. You have, so that's great. Our team, I like it. You have this, who you are, kind of a good headshot, little story about yourself, about your staff. I think that's great. Maybe even like an intro video. You could do a little video about yourself. We talked about the services here. Here are the services, all the different treatments that you have. I think that's great. New patients, kind of welcoming them, arriving 15 minutes. Here are the forms. Here's your insurance. I think that's great. Has the time that you're available for them. So this is about Google, writing a review, Instagram, X, Facebook. I think that's great, having reviews here. You have information on a blog. I like this. So the company that you use, they do a blog for you. I think like it's once a week or once a month. I think that's great. Doing the blog, and then the contact button. And they can book online. I love it that they can book online. I think patients want that ease. And I think this is via ZocDoc. The only challenge with ZocDoc is that they charge a little bit more, but I think if you can get the patients, it's worth it through that. So I like your website. Not really many things. I love this scroller of your reviews. I think is great. I think if you could put this scroller on every page, that would be great. And also it says based on 14 reviews, man, I would really try to get more reviews. There's a couple of systems I talk about where, like, after every patient, we use Swell. So after every patient comes in, they get a review request. I think that's great. Or something kind of similar to that. So I think you have a great website, and it seems like you say you're in a difficult location, but I think you're gonna do great. You just have to get the flow. So I think the one thing to focus on, the main constraint, is going to be on patient flow, getting more patients into the office, and anything else is more interesting than working on that. So anything else, like social media is more interesting, writing blog content is more interesting, reading journals is more interesting. But if you can focus like 100 minutes a day, and that might be, a block time between patients, before end of the day, things like just kind of focus on that. And how do you do that? So you want to get leads, you want to get patients. So there's a good book I like. It's called $1 Million Leads. It's by Alex Hormozi. It's free online. You can find it. I sent you a PDF of some of the questions to focus on, and just really focus on lead getting. And in my opinion, figure out what's working for you in those primary cares that you're already seeing patients from. So let me just make it real simple. You got your list of patients. You always send a letter, I'm sure, to every patient, right? Their doctor, after you see them. So look at that doctor and say, hey, can I give you, hey, I want to talk to you about this patient. Oh, okay. So for example, Kimberly, I saw today. Hey, Dr. Jones, I saw Kimberly today. I was trying to talk to you about her. Oh yeah. So Kimberly has some horns, and she has actually a deep wart that we're going to treat with Swift. Just want to let you know. Also, I just want to make friends because I've been seeing your patients. Out of curiosity, if you have foot issues or patients with foot issues, do you have a referral source that you usually refer to? If they don't, say, hey, can I be that referral source? So call up if you want to spend time calling all the referral doctors, and just do that conversation. Say, I just want to make friends. Do you have someone that you already refer all your foot stuff to? Oh, I do. Okay, well, I hope you think of me. Do you mind if I keep reaching out to you periodically? Can I come and do a meet and greet with your staff? Can I help in any way? Can I be available? Just make yourself useful. Like, I think one thing, like, it's low-hanging fruit. If you have a list of patients, just call their primary care doctors and just introduce yourself. Like, if you don't know them by name, or if they don't know you by name, introduce yourself, and then get those ones on, like, even just sending something once a month to them, printing out one of the office notes instead of faxing all of them. Print out one and then put a little handwritten note about yourself in there, like, hey, thanks for letting me see your patient. Setting up a time for them to come and visit, make friends with them. Like, that's the way you do it. That's something you could actually do. And then having your marketing person kind of set up meets and greets and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things. I'd love to give you more ideas A lot of this is on my Practice Mastery Academy. I keep it real reasonable for you, but I'd love to help in any way. So shoot me an email. Okay. And anyone that's listening, thank you for watching listen to this podcast. Hope you found it beneficial. This is for Craig here. He's been out a couple of years and producing less than 500,000. I think the main constraint is focusing on getting patients in the office, and then the other things can be added after that. Okay, thanks.